So, do you ever watch a movie and when it's over, you go, that was alright, not bad, a fun watch? Then you'll rewatch it sometime later and go, dang, this movie was actually pretty good. Then maybe once more, and that'll make you go, no, this is a great movie. Throughout the years, I've surprisingly grown not only a respect, but a love for Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I know what you're thinking. You're kidding me, right? No, I'm not. In fact, I don't just think it's one of the best DCEU movies to date, but also deserves a spot among being one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Let's get started. I think that a huge portion of what makes a good superhero film is the superhero itself. Am I wrong? It's not just how they're written for the film, but also how we perceive and compare them to our own vision of the character. Does the person described on the screen mirror the expectations of that in your mind? Now, when people think of Superman, they think of what? They think red cape, hands on hips, broad man, big smile on his face, a Boy Scout.
I grew up in Kansas, General. About as American as it gets.
An all-powerful, indestructible being, but also tender, caring, and loving.
Nice suit, son.
But there's so much more to the character, and Henry Cavill delivers. Not only does he act for the character of Superman, but he trains for it too. Cavill wanted to limit the amount of muscle suits and digital touch-ups to make him look more muscular, believing that being as close to Superman is the overall goal. And boy did he deliver. Cavill became Superman. It's more than just the muscle. The theme throughout is identity. And what greater character than Superman? Of course, like any other superhero, Superman has a weakness or a worthy opponent. Lex Luthor's brains to Superman's bronze, going hand to hand with Doomsday, and Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
Man of Steel doesn't have any of these. Instead, we're introduced to General Zod and his following of other Kryptonians.
I exist only to protect Krypton.
But General Zod is just a prominent layer of conflict that Superman faces. What about the Clark Kent or Kal-El? Underneath the physical beating Superman endures throughout the film, his character is riddled with even more internal conflict than external. From the start, he's an outcast, literally. An alien cast from his home planet, spending his childhood growing up in the result of being different. Here's why I love Superman and how Man of Steel pokes at the deep layers of his character.
Is that all you got?
He needs self-control.
Come on, Ken.
His earthly father raises how important it is that he takes the steps in the right direction.
It's not what I meant. I meant, are you all right?
I wanted to hit that kid. I wanted to hit him so bad.
I know you did. I mean, part of me even wanted you to, but then what? Make you feel any better?
In fact, it's imperative.
You just have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark, because whoever that man is, good character or bad, he's going to change the world.
His speech is a lot like Uncle Ben's to Peter in Raimi's first Spider-Man.
These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into.
There's a choice to be made, and this choice determines the selfless Superman we see, or a chaotic force deemed nearly unstoppable. Clark must continually make this decision throughout his life, never being able to lose his temper. He must have the power to walk away. His last internal conflict, and the biggest in the film, his two fathers' rivaling ideologies. Jor-El, his real Kryptonian father, believes that Kal can accomplish wonders, be a savior to this generation of humans.
You can embody the best of both worlds. The dream your mother and I dedicated our lives to preserve.
Meanwhile, his earthly father believes the same, but that the world isn't ready for Superman.
Right? We talked about this. You have... Oh, Clark, you have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
The scene that most people mistake is when Clark's father gives his life during a tornado.
That's right. Clark has a point.
As Clark steps forward to help, Jonathan just puts out his hand, stopping his son from saving him. You, me, we all know that Clark could have saved his father.
Can I just keep pretending I'm your son?
But in reality,
You are my son.
it's Jonathan who just saved his son. Clark was still young. His father knew he wasn't ready to deal with the aftermath of his actions, nor that the world would be ready for him.
I let my father die because I trusted him. Because he was convinced that I had to wait.
He needed to wait. It's not until action arises when Clark needs to don the cape. Not to mention that Zod gives Superman the decision of choosing life on Earth.
If you love these people so much, you can mourn for them.
Or a new Krypton. Clark must choose between his family or his blood. He doesn't hate Zod, but Zod will stop at nothing to fulfill his plan of terraforming. Nothing.
Never.
That's why this last scene gets so misunderstood. People say, why don't the people just move out of the way, yada yada. It's not about that. Zod will never stop. Clark needed to put an end to him. We see a superhero do something we rarely see. Kills. You can see the pain in his eyes. The yell at the end? That's raw. The Superman we see in this film has a layer of seriousness, knowing that greater things are at stake. Not that he never smiles, but there's a time and place for everything. This darker tone isn't so much darker than it is real. Let's take a quick step back and look at the film on a broader level. Zack Snyder, of course, directed the film. He's also known for directing 300 and Watchmen, clearly influencing his vision for Man of Steel. Snyder got his contract with Warner Brothers. Who else was making DC movies for Warner Bros? David Goyer and Christopher Nolan, the writers and directors of the Dark Knight trilogy. They wrote Man of Steel. Goyer and Nolan, creators of one of the best comic book movies of all time, they wrote Man of Steel. The similarities in tone and thick story between The Dark Knight and Man of Steel, it makes so much sense. Who also worked with Nolan on the Dark Knight trilogy? The legendary Hans Zimmer. That's right. In case you didn't know, Hans Zimmer also did the score for this movie as well. Which explains why it's so powerful, so emotional. When Superman is flying, you're flying with him. Just take a second and listen to it. So, we have an iconic character, great writers, a legendary composer, and a director with a vision. It all comes together. But what truly makes this movie great? This movie just feels different from other comic book movies. It's not just a fun watch, but it's more. Some scenes capture you not just for entertainment, but because they have heart. A great superhero movie will do what a great superhero should do. Inspire. The scenes are endless. Superman's first flight. Drawing power from the sun. Destroying the world engine where he literally stands underneath the weight of the world. To scenes of him as a kid. Even General Zod. It just feels different. Like I said, you don't watch this in entertainment. It's something more. It's amazement. Man of Steel is an underrated gem. I am not saying it's a perfect movie, but it deserves recognition for not being a formulated story that we're used to. Appreciate its complexity and the slightly different take on the character we know. It has all the workings to be a great movie, in which it exceeds that. This is Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.